for me.
Is it really true?
Hey, you!
Hello, stranger. You must be hungry and thirsty. Perhaps I can interest you in my wares.
I was actually on my way to see the paladins.
There's little chance of that. Since the paladins made themselves at home in the upper end of town, hardly anyone gets in there anymore.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
Me? Nah, I don't have much say here myself. There are a few people in the lower city who have enough influence to get you past the guards. Mateo, my boss, is one of them. Maybe you should talk to him.
Never would have thought of that himself.
Where can I find Mateo?
You're standing right outside his shop. Just go on in. He's practically always there.
Really believe that.
What about the other influential citizens?
The merchants and master craftsmen here on the main street are the most important figures in the city. You should try to get accepted by one of them as an apprentice like me. Since I started working for Mateo, the people in the city treat me with respect.
I need some money, and I'm looking for work.
I've heard that Bosper has trouble with his suppliers. His shop is right over there. They say he pays pretty well.
What do you have to offer?
At the moment, I don't have much choice. The damned landowner doesn't deliver anymore. And what we get from the small farms isn't enough to meet the demands of the city.
Tell me more about the peasants' revolt.
It's quite simple. Onar, the fat landowner, won't pay any more taxes to the city. Imagine, we're at war with the orcs, and that fat slob wants everything for himself. Normally, the city guard would take firm measures in such cases, but now comes the best part. They say Onar has hired mercenaries to keep the troops from the city off his back. Mercenaries. The whole thing will end in a damn war, as if one war weren't enough.
It's all just gossip.
What do you know about Onar's mercenaries?
I heard that most of them are former convicts from the mining colony, and their leader's supposed to have been a big shot with the king, a general or something, whom they put away as a traitor. These are terrible times.
Show me your wares.
This is gonna change. That's been known a long time. I believe this is gonna change.
What can I do for you?
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather, still unused. Interested?
What do you know about paladins?
Since these bastards have come to the city, I've had nothing but trouble. The last time I was headed for the upper end of town, the guards flat out stopped me and asked me what was my business there.
And?
Of course they let me in. I had my shop in the city when most of those pompous asses were still chasing pigs with wooden swords. And yesterday, the bastards came and confiscated half of my goods.
The paladins seized your goods.
Everything I had stored in the backyard. They simply posted a guard in front of the entrance to the yard. If I'm lucky, they won't take everything. At least they might leave the armor here.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
What? What are you going to do there?
I've got an important message.
Well, well. Have you tried getting past the guards?
I don't see why I should even try.
You're probably right. I don't know how important your message is, and it's none of my business. But even if you told them that a ship full of orcs just anchored in the harbor, they'd send you away because they have their orders.
So can you help me get into the upper quarter?
It seems to be really important to you. The question is, how important is it to you?
What are you getting at?
I can help you. After all, I'm one of the most influential people here, but it'll cost you.
What are you asking for your help?
100 gold pieces.
You shark.
Take it easy. It isn't your gold I have in mind.
But
In principle, it's my gold. Gritta, the carpenter's niece, hasn't paid what she owes me in ages. But the little brat is constantly running around in new clothes. That means she has the money. I'd like to beat it out of her. But Master Thorben, the carpenter, is also a very influential man. Get me the money and I'll help you.
where can I find this Gritta?
Like I said, she's the carpenter's niece. His house is down the street, the last house on the right before the smithy.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
One thing at a time. First fulfill your part of the deal and bring me the gold.
Where could I sign on as an apprentice then?
Basically, with any master here on the main street. That would be Harrod the smith, Bosper the bowmaker, Thorben the carpenter, or Constantino the alchemist. One of them is bound to take you on. But it's important that the other masters agree. That's always been the custom here in Khorinis.
How do I get the approval of the other masters?
You just have to convince them. Go and talk to them. But if more than one of them is against you, you don't stand a chance, so behave yourself.
Why don't you take me on as an apprentice?
I would, but the other masters wouldn't agree. I just recently took on another apprentice.
Is there another way to get into the upper quarter?
Perhaps. If I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Show me your wares.
Hardly know who to believe these days.
Hey, you're new in town, huh?
Yes, and what about you?
I've come from the mainland, and now I'm hanging around here. I'm almost out of gold, so all I can do now is join the militia, I guess. But I don't want to do that. I won't be slaughtered by those orcs on the king's behalf.
What can you tell me about the militia?
One of the paladins has taken command. A certain Lord Andre. He's trying to mobilize half the city in case the orcs attack. But you need to be a citizen of the town in order to be admitted. As far as I know, if you're not a citizen, you can train anyway. But you won't be officially admitted.
What else can you tell me about Lord Andre?
He has taken over the position of judge as well. If you cause any trouble in this town, you're gonna have to answer to him. I was once in a brawl with a citizen. He went crying to Lord Andre and ratted me out. That little matter cost me 50 gold pieces. I was lucky that it happened at night, or others would have witnessed it. The more people complain about you in this town, the higher your penalty will be.
Who did you fight with?
With a fellow named Valentino. He often hangs out in the tavern near the temple. I'm not usually a violent person, but that guy needed his face rearranged in the worst way.
Has anything exciting happened?
You could say that. They robbed Bosper the bowmaker. What a brazen thing to do, I tell you. The fellow just ambled into the shop in broad daylight and grabbed himself a bow. And Bosper right after him, hollering, "Stop right there, you rogue!" But the thief was too fast.
Did you pick that up then? I don't believe this is gonna change. That was obvious all along.
That's an open secret.
Welcome to my shop, stranger. I am Bosper. I craft bows and trade in furs. What brings you to Khorinis?
I need to get into the upper quarter.
Where the paladins are? Forget it. You need to be a respected citizen here, or at least hold a decent job. As a stranger, you stand no chance of getting in.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. The last one just gave up his job 2 days ago. Do you know anything about hunting then?
Well,
I could teach you how to skin animals. I'll pay you well for every skin you bring me.
I want to start as your apprentice.
Before I take you on, I need to know, of course, whether you're any good at all.
What do you want me to do for you?
I will teach you how to skin an animal, and you will bring me, let's say, half a dozen wolf skins. Then I'll know that you have learned your trade. If it doesn't take you forever, and if the skins are in acceptable condition, I will take you on if you like.
What if I want to sign on with one of the other masters?
Balderdash. Harrod and Matteo already have apprentices. Constantino the alchemist is a loner, and he hasn't taken an apprentice in years. And as for Thorben, everyone knows he's dead broke. He probably couldn't even pay it. I, on the other hand, am in urgent need of an apprentice, and I pay well too. But no matter where you want to sign on, you need the approval of all other masters from the lower part of town.
Will I get your approval to sign up with a different master?
All right, you shall have my approval, but on one condition. Work for me, at least for a short time. That way, you can find out for yourself whether you like my craft or not. And who knows? Maybe you'll end up liking it, and you'll stay with me. If you're good enough to sign on with me, you're also good enough for all others here.
Why did your apprentice give up his job?
All he said was that it had become too dangerous out there. If you're really interested, then you can ask him yourself. His name is Bartok. He's probably hanging out near Corrigan's Tavern. Go through the underpass from the smithy, then you're headed straight for it.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well, let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district, but they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard...
It's gonna get a little worse.
Ah, fresh face. You're not from Khorinis, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith?
Yes, a most humble servant, Master Thorben.
Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
So, you know a lot about locks.
What good is a fine chest without a fine lock? I make my own locks. That way, I can at least be sure I haven't built my chest that sturdy for nothing. A poorly made lock is easy to break, and there are plenty of thieves about in Khorinis, especially lately.
Can you sell me some lockpicks?
Well, all right, but they won't be of any use to you as long as you don't know how they work.
Have you had an apprentice before?
Yes, and not too long ago.
And what happened?
His name is Elvridge. He's my nephew. I was quite pleased with him, actually, but one day he simply didn't show up for work.
Where is Elvridge now?
How would I know? He kept hanging around that filthy brothel by the harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still warming the bed of some whore down there.
How long has it been since you saw him?
I guess it must be about 2 weeks.
Have you reported that to the militia?
Of course I have. They were supposed to catch him and see to it that the lazy bones does his work. But I already regret that. He can do whatever he wants. Sooner or later he'll realize he'll get nowhere in Khorinis without a decent job.
Is that so? What do you know about the Paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper end of town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
Do you know anything about the Peasants' Rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do.
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Gritta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see.
New in the city, huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harrod's apprentice.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I have learned a lot from him.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorben the carpenter, Bosper the bowmaker, Constantino the alchemist, and Matteo. He sells armor, but first of all, he's a merchant. All the masters have their houses here on the street. And Constantino's shop is in the underpass to the temple.
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Can I buy weapons from you?
Not really, I'm merely an assistant. The weapons that are made in this smithy are collected by the militia and taken to the towers where they're stored. But if it has anything to do with forging, maybe I can help you.
What can I get from you?
I can sell you some steel billets.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
Let's talk again about that orc thing.
What?
An orc is a damn tough opponent.
Looking at you, you might be right. You don't have much meat on your bones. But that can change. Nevertheless, you have to prove to me that you have the courage to fight.
So, couldn't it be something slightly smaller?
Hakon, the weapons dealer in the marketplace, told me that he was attacked by bandits a few days ago. The bastards are said to be roaming around somewhere outside the East Gate. Those cowardly rogues shouldn't be terribly bright. Hunt the bastards down. Every single one of them. Then I'll know that we can use you here in the city.
When can I start as your apprentice?
Not before you've proven to me that you're good for something.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Do you sell weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Greta. Ever since my husband died, I've been running the household for my uncle Thorabin.
Matteo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you, back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking, a gentleman of the old school. We had it all. Wealth, happiness. Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized conversations. Everything was better back then. No one would have dared to humiliate the heart of a poor widow with such...
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
Then we'll simply sell a few of your togs. I'm sure you've still got a bunch of stuff in your closet.
How dare you, uncouth lout! All right, here, take the gold.
See, that wasn't so hard.
And now will you please leave my house?
How about your approval, Master?
Has Vatras given you his blessing?
Not yet.
Then I don't know why you're asking me again. You know my terms.
Your niece had 100 gold pieces.
What? The brazen little serpent. That was my gold. She took it from my chest. Give it back to me. I have to pay off Lamar first. Matteo can get his money later.
No, Matteo will get his money back from me.
You're getting me into a real mess that way. Lamar is not terribly generous when it comes to debts. But at least you're planning to pay my niece's debts. I guess I ought to thank you for that.
It can't go on like this forever.
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
And? Did she cause any problems?
None to speak of.
Good. You've held up your part of the deal.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
Don't worry. I'll keep my part of the bargain. The other masters will only hear the best about you from me.
this place.
Hey, you!
What do you want? I'm not giving anything away.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you gonna sign up?
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, they develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
About the plants.
If you cannot handle that by yourself, you won't be any good as an alchemist either.
I see. I want to sign up with one of the other masters.
You have come to ask my approval? As far as I'm concerned, you can sign up with whoever you like.
I'm in need of healing.
Why? Are you injured?
Not really.
Get lost then, or you may well suffer an injury.
Show me your wares.
And thus spake Adanos to his brothers, Never again
what have we here?
shall you walk upon my land,
manners?
for it is
That's
sacred.
disgusting.
So
Oh, is
shall
this
it
filthy
be.
rabble? Haven't you a job
But the
where you ought to
human
be?
and the beast
But I suppose
waged
no one would
war
miss a
upon the
down-at-heel
land of
fellow
Adanos.
like you,
The
hey?
wrath of the gods
Well,
was
if you
with
had as
them.
much gold as I do, you wouldn't have to work either. But you'll never be that rich.
And the
I see
human
I'm gonna have lots of
slew the
fun with
beast,
you.
And it entered into Belial's
I asked you
realm.
who you are.
I am Valentino the Handsome, bon vivant and ladies' man. Poor in cares, rich in
Adanos
wisdom
saw
and gold, and the
order
women
and
throw
chaos were now
themselves at me.
unequal, and he bade
If you have
Enos
problems,
to take
keep
his
them.
divine
I don't need
power
them.
From the human.
Looks like I'm gonna have to teach you some manners.
Doesn't
And
matter to
Enos, in
me.
his
Thrash me
wisdom,
all you want.
did
When I get
so.
up tomorrow, I'll be fine again. But you'll have to run around with that mug of yours for life.
Do you have anything else to tell me?
Make yourself popular.
Adanos
Never promise
feared for
anything
the
to
day in
anyone.
which the
Take what you
beast
can
would
and watch
return
out
to
that
the
you don't get into a
land.
quarrel with the militia. Or with jealous husbands, of course. They're the worst, let me tell you.
And so he bade Enos to leave a part of his power in... Adanos be with you.
Who are you?
I am Vatras, a servant of Adanos, the guardian of the divine and earthly equilibrium. What can I do for you?
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
And why would I do that?
Cavalorn sent me to you.
And what did he tell you?
He said you're in dire need of more good people.
Aha. So, you want to join us, son?
Here, I've got a letter for you.
For me? Indeed. This is an important message you're bringing me. I wonder how you got hold of this letter.
I got it from Cavalorn, the hunter.
Cavalorn? Where is he?
He told me to tell you he couldn't make it and is headed for the meeting point, whatever he meant by that.
I see that you have gained Cavalorn's trust. That speaks in your favor.
I want to join the Ring of Water.
You do? Well, that means you have already fulfilled the first requirement.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, there must be someone among us who trusts you. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know about it. But I know nothing about you at all.
What do you want to know?
Well, you could tell me where you come from and why you have come to the city.
I carry an important message for the leader of the Paladins.
What is this message?
Terrible things are bound to happen soon.
terrible things, How do you know this?
Zardos, the magician, told me. He sent me to warn the paladins.
The necromancer. So he lives, and he sent you. Who are you really?
I'm a former convict from the penal colony of Khorinis.
Good. Let us summarize. You are a former prisoner who has been told by Zardos, the necromancer, that terrible things are going to happen. And you have come to report this to the paladins. I think there's something you're not telling me. If you're worried I might pass on what you tell me, then let me reassure you. I have sworn to keep all secrets I am entrusted with to myself.
And what about all the people here?
They only understand half of what I preach to them. So don't fret. Let's start over at the beginning. What's that message?
A large army is gathering as we talk, led by dragons and determined to conquer the country.
Dragons? You speak of beings which until now have only been mentioned in legends. How do you know this?
Zardos, the magician, told me. He sent me to warn the paladins.
I know this man as a wise and mighty master of magic. And where do you come from?
I'm a former convict from the penal colony of Khorinis.
Good. Let us summarize. You are a former prisoner who has been told by Zardos, the necromancer, that dragons have come to conquer the country. And you have come to report this to the paladins. That all sounds rather fantastic, but I cannot perceive that you are lying to me. Therefore, I must assume that your motives are honorable. I want to give you a chance to join the Ring of Water.
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
Since you are not yet a member of our community, I cannot tell you everything, of course. But I shall tell you what I may.
Who are the members of the Ring of Water, then?
I cannot tell you that until you join the ring, but you will certainly have met some of them by that time.
Where are the other water mages?
They are exploring the ruins of an old culture northeast of Khorinis. We suspect that those ruins might contain a passage to a part of the island which is as yet uncharted.
Tell me more about that uncharted area.
If you're interested in joining the expedition, I could send you to Satyrus with a letter. You can only participate, of course, as long as you're one of us.
Of course. What exactly is it that you do?
We stand between the Order of Innos and the chaos of Beliar. If one of the two sides should gain the upper hand, it will mean either total loss of freedom or deadly chaos. Therefore, we guard the balance between the two. That's what makes life in this world possible for all.
And what does that mean in concrete terms?
The fall of the barrier has evoked numerous threats. The bandits are probably the most obvious one. Not only has it become all but impossible to travel the island without being attacked, there's someone in town, too, who supports the bandits. We have found out that the bandits receive regular deliveries from a weapons merchant in Khorinis. We try to find such people and keep them from endangering the city. If you can find out anything about this, let me know.
What must I do in order to join the ring?
Know that you take on great responsibility by joining the ring. I do not let just anyone join who comes to us and asks. If you want to join the ring, you will have to prove that you act like one of us.
And that means?
Before we let a young man join our ranks, he must have done a great deed for the ring. Only then can I begin to consider letting you help preserve the balance of forces on this island.
I have vanquished the Sleeper. Isn't that a great enough deed?
My ears hear many a tale these days, including the story about the banning of the beast called the Sleeper. I have not heard that this was achieved by a single man, although your eyes tell me that you are convinced you did this. That confuses me slightly, but I cannot be sure that my senses might not deceive me sometimes.
I have freed many people. The barrier is gone.
Even if you can really claim responsibility for that, the great event in the Valley of Mines has not only set free the water mages and other upright citizens. All the criminals of the entire country are roaming Khorinis these days, harassing the population. The bandits have already taken over large areas of land outside the city. It has become all but impossible to leave the town and return unharmed.
So what would be an appropriate deed that might convince you?
Khorinis is facing a great enigma these days. The number of people missing from the town seems to increase almost daily. If you can explain to me what happened to them, you shall have your place within the Ring of Water. However,
yes?
You should take your message to the paladins first. I consider it a matter of utmost importance. Talk to Lord Hagen.
But Lord Hagen is not going to receive me.
Yes, he will, no doubt about it, provided you become a member of a powerful community first. The ring has far-reaching connections. We shall assist you in conveying your message as soon as possible. You should talk about this to Laris, whom I trust. He will help you.
What community should I join?
There are only 3 communities that have enough influence. These are the City Militia, the Monastery of the Fire Magicians, and a troop of mercenaries on the landowner's farm. The choice is yours, son. Laris can certainly assist you with this difficult decision. Talk to him about it.
I shall do that. About those missing people.
Yes?
Where should I start looking for them?
Most of those people disappeared down by the harbor. That's probably where you should start your search.
Let me tell you what I know.
What have you found out?
Nothing important so far. About this weapons dealer. How much do you know about the weapons dealer?
Ask Martin, the provisions master of the Paladins, about this. He should be able to tell you more. He has been tasked with unmasking the weapons dealer. You can find Martin in the Harbor District. If you see a heap of crates, provision, and paladins, Martin won't be far.
Is there anything that could help me with my search?
You're a very persistent young man, but I actually can think of something that could make your tasks easier for you. I shall give you this ore amulet. You'll certainly be able to use it. It is an amulet of the searching will-o'-the-wisps. There are only very few of them. The will-o'-the-wisp that inhabits this amulet has very special properties. It can help you find things that normally elude the naked eye. You summon it by simply wearing the amulet. If it loses its power, or you cannot find it, simply put on the amulet again and it will reappear. The will-o'-the-wisp can detect weapons. It could be very helpful to you in investigating the weapons deliveries to the bandits. Treat it well, and it will never fail you.
A will-o'-the-wisp in an amulet?
Will-o'-the-wisps are admirable creatures. They consist of pure magical energy. They are bound to the magical ore in this world. It is their origin. It gives them their strength. I'm not surprised that you've never heard of them. They only appear to the person who bears the ore to which they belong. Will-o'-the-wisps living in the wild have been forcefully removed from their sources. They will attack anyone who approaches them. There is no way to help those pitiful creatures. You had better stay away from them.
Can the will-o'-the-wisp do more than that?
More than look for close combat weapons? Not unless you teach it. I think Riordian knows how to teach these beings. He is one of us, currently traveling with Satyrus. Perhaps he can tell you more.
Thank you. I shall take good care of it.
Can you heal me?
You do not require healing magic at this time.
I'm asking your blessing.
Why should I give you my blessing, stranger?
I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the masters in the lower part of town.
Go with the blessing of Adanos, my son.
Where can I find a priest of Innos?
The best thing would be to look around the marketplace. You will find an emissary of the monastery there.
Can you teach me something about magic?
Only the chosen of Innos and the chosen of Adanos are permitted to work rune magic. But common mortals can also work magic with the help of spell scrolls. I can show you how you can channel and expand your magic powers.
Tell me about the gods.
What exactly would you like to know?
Tell me about Beliar.
Beliar is the dark god of death, destruction, and all things unnatural. He is in eternal battle with Innos, but Adanos guards the balance between the two. Only a few humans follow the call of Beliar. However, he grants great strength to those who do.
Tell me about Adanos.
Adanos is the god of the center. He is the scales of justice and guardian of the balance between Innos and Beliar. He commands the power of change. His gift is the water in all the oceans, rivers, and lakes. His priests are the water mages, just as I am a servant and priest of Adanos.
Tell me about Innos.
Very well. Innos is the first and highest god. He created the sun and the world. He commands light and fire, his gifts to humanity. He is law and justice. His priests are the magicians of fire. The paladins are his warriors. Wait, if you see Laris, give him this ornament and tell him that it needs to be returned. He'll know what to do with it.
One more thing.
Listen, kid. I've got important things to do right now. We'll talk again later, got it?
Ah, customer, what can I do for you?
I'm looking for a room.
Ah, you're in the right place then.
One of the paladins told me that I could spend the night here for free.
Yes, yes. Just go up the stairs. We still have 1 or 2 beds free.
Why do the paladins pay for everything?
I don't know what that's all about either. For one thing, I think they want to get all the poor suckers off the streets so they don't make any mischief. And for another, they want to get on the good side of the traveling traders. Now that the farmers are rebelling, we have to rely on the traders for provisions. Besides, I think they want to improve the morale in the city a bit. Lord Andre has even arranged for free beer to be given out at the Gala Square.
Who's staying here at the moment?
Almost all of them are traveling traders from the market.
Aha!
Don't even think about messing with their stuff. I don't want any trouble here.
I have a few questions about the city. Tell me about the town.
Khorinis is one of the wealthiest cities within the kingdom, even if it doesn't look like it at the moment. But since the Orc War started, trade has almost come to a complete standstill. The king has requisitioned the entire merchant fleet for military service, which means that hardly any ships come into the harbor now. So, the supply of goods is very scarce now, and many citizens of the town are very worried. Nobody really knows what the future will bring. There's basically nothing we can do but wait and see what happens. It's not like we can change anything.
Where can I buy something around here?
The market is directly in front of the door. You should be able to find everything there. There are a few more shops and craftsmen on the other side of town. Most of them are near the other city gate. Also, there's a fishmonger in the harbor district. His shop is right at the harbor. He's easy to find.
You still owe me a favor. It is time to pay your debt.
What do you want?
I want my old stall in the marketplace back. Sarah snatched it away from me, but she has had that spot long enough. I want her to give up the stall.
And what's my part in this?
I will give you a letter to stick in her pocket. Then you go to Andre and tell him that Sarah is selling weapons to Onar. She lands in prison, you pocket the bounty, and I get the stall. You have 2 days to accomplish this.
What will happen if I refuse to do that?
That would be truly stupid of you, because you see, I know that you're an escaped convict. If that gets around, it can do considerable harm to your situation in the city.
All right, looks like I've got no choice.
You're a clever lad. Here is the letter.
How am I supposed to foist the letter on her?
Let her show you her wares, and while she does, you hide the letter on her. And bear in mind, I am an influential man in the city, so don't try to play me for a fool.
I've got to go.
Suit yourself.
Who says things like that?
What can I do for you? Are you seeking spiritual comfort?
Someone's got to do the work.
Do you want to direct a prayer to our Lord Enos, or donate some gold for his church?
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
I need to talk to the paladins. Can you help me get to them?
Well, you need access to the upper end of town. However, this is allowed only to citizens and the city guard. And of course, to us, magicians of fire.
How can I become a fire magician?
You must join our order as a novice. When you have served for a time, perhaps you will be accepted into the ranks of the magicians. However, the path to acceptance is long and full of work and study.
And it's gonna get even worse.
I've come to get your blessing.
That's good. That's good. Then you will probably want to donate gold to the Holy Church of Enos, won't you?
Actually, I wanted your blessing so I can sign on as an apprentice in the lower part of town.
But my son, without a modest donation to the church, it is impossible for me to bless you. How else can I be certain of your good intentions toward the Holy Church of Enos?
So, how much does a donation usually run to here?
Well, that depends on what percentage you want to give, son. Let me see how much you brought. You have more than 100 gold pieces. The Lord says give if you have. The church accepts your generous donation. I bless you in the name of Enos, for he is light and righteousness.
Who says things like that?
Where do you come from?
I come from the monastery of the magicians, which lies in the mountains. We accept everyone there who is pure of heart and feels the desire to serve our almighty Lord Enos.
Now that's typical.
Tell me about Enos.
Enos, our almighty Lord, is the light and the fire. He chooses humans to be his tool, giving them magic and laws. We act in his name. We administer justice according to his will and preach his word.
Tell me more about the monastery.
We instruct our students in all forms of magic, but the arts of the magicians of fire consist of more than these alone. We are also well versed in the art of alchemy and in the creation of powerful runes. We also make excellent wine.
Someone's got to do the work.
What are you doing in town?
I have discussions with the paladins and support the citizens with my advice and with helpful words. Particularly in these difficult times, it is our duty to be there for the people and to help the poor.
Who says things like that? That's what I've always said. That's an open secret. I can't take care of everything for everyone.
Hey, not so fast. Strolling about alone out here is dangerous. Where do you come from?
From the city.
Well. Then what are you doing wandering around out here, so far from the protective walls of the city?
What's so dangerous out here?
Many things. I bet you'll be yelling for my help after the next bend in the road.
Just assuming I would fall back on your help. How much would that cost me?
I am merely a humble servant of the king and would not enjoy fleecing a helpless little citizen of the realm. But you know, if you put it like that, I wouldn't object to a little financial backing to promote our future business relationship. 10 gold coins should do for starters. What do you think?
Why not? Here's your 10 coins.
Terrific. If you need my help, you know where to find me. But please do me a favor. Don't come to me with any trifles. I can't stand that, you hear?